went from 0 students to 1,000 students. We were bankrupt, broke, we had nothing. I want to talk about the 3 costly mistakes I made. I'm David Martin, and today I'm going to be sharing with you how I went from 0 students to 1,000 students across 3 different locations and eventually selling my business. But I want to talk about the 3 costly mistakes I made along the way. So hopefully you can avoid making these 3 mistakes. When my wife and I first started our music school, we were bankrupt, broke. We had nothing. We were living in my parents' basement with 2 kids in diapers and another one on the way. We started teaching out of an old tool shed in the back yard that we had gutted. We threw down some carpet, put in an old keyboard, and just started teaching piano lessons. And that's how we got started. And we got our students just from driving around the neighborhood, putting up yard signs, and just getting students and families from around our neighborhood to call up and sign up for piano lessons. And that's how we got started. And fast forward about 15 years and grew it to about 1,000 students, and then we ended up selling. By the way, if you want to subscribe and like, just hit the subscribe button at the bottom of this video so you can see more videos like this. So one of the things that I learned at the early part of the process, I had like 50 students or something like that, and this was the first costly mistake that I made, so we didn't really have any system for keeping students engaged in lessons. Like, we didn't have any rewards or prizes or anything. So it was actually one of my teachers came up with this idea. She called it the prize wall. And she would go to like the thrift store and she'd buy little toys or candy or just fun little things. And we got this shelf and we put it in the studio next to the piano. And so the kids, when they'd walk into their lesson, they'd see this, this shelf with all these really cool prizes and toys and things like that. That really helped. And it started to actually keep our students around for longer. Because, at the end of the day, as much as as much as you love music and you're going to be an enthusiastic teacher, especially the younger kids, they just need something more. And so, you can do toys, you can do prizes, you can also do candy. And then as we grew, one of the things that we started introducing was like certificates and awards for certain milestones, certain achievements along the way. And I actually ended up creating a full student retention system called the Musician Success Path. And that sort of made it more scalable, because as you get bigger, and you get more and more students, hundreds of students, it becomes a little more difficult to maintain, having a reliable and consistent system that everybody equally gets access to. But I would say that was the first thing that, if I were to go back, I wish we had done that at the very, very beginning. It's having a reward system, having a system for students to be able to earn rewards and prizes as they progress in their musical journey. So that was number 1. The second costly mistake I made was I got to a certain point in the business where I couldn't teach all the lessons myself, right? We all get to this point. For some people, it's 30 students. For some people, it's 50 students. For some people, it's like 70 or 80 students. It's like they're teaching all these students by themselves. But at a certain point, you realize in order to grow, in order to scale the business, you need to hire other teachers, right? And so this becomes a really big step in your business, because now you're multiplying. You're going from just a solo operator, to having employees or independent contractors, or however you do it, but having people working for you. And so it brings up the inevitable conversation, which is, how much do you pay these people? How much do you pay these teachers to come in and teach for you? And this was costly mistake number 2, is overpaying my teachers at the very beginning, overpaying my teachers. I was intimidated by them. I was intimidated by the fact that some of them had more experience than I did teaching. They had more degrees. They had more, some cases more teaching experiences, whatever. And so when they came in and they heard the rate that I was paying, some of them would argue with me, or they would try to negotiate up their pay at the very beginning. And at the very beginning, I relented, and I ended up overpaying some of those teachers. And the reason why this was not good was because I wasn't sticking within the budget. Now, the budget that I set for myself as I got bigger and I realized that I couldn't maintain paying these teachers so much, was 40% or less of the tuition, right? So for paying the teachers 40% or less. So easy math, if you're paying your teachers $100, I mean, if you're receiving $100 from your students' tuition each month, then you should not pay your teachers any more than $40 for that student per month, right? So if they're teaching a half-hour lesson to that student, that would be 2 hours worth of teaching for the whole month. So you wouldn't want to pay them any more than $40 per student per month. So 40% or less, ideally down, if you can get it down to 35 or even 30%, that's ideal. But you got to have a budget. You have to stick within your budget. Otherwise, you cannot scale the business. You can't grow the business. And here's the thing. What I was always afraid of is I was afraid that a teacher would like walk away and say, no, I don't, I'm not going to teach for you because you don't pay enough. And I thought, well, I have to just keep offering more and more until I can get everybody to work for me. And that was just not a smart move. Sticking with the budget. Hey, look, if you're not willing to teach at this pay rate, then we're just not going to be the right fit for you, because there's always somebody else out there that is willing to teach at your pay rate. So that's costly mistake number 2, is overpaying your teachers. And then the third costly mistake that I made was trying to make the parents happy by not enforcing my policies, right? We have policies for our school for a reason, because things have to operate smoothly and we want our systems and our processes to run smoothly. And this is fair for all of the parents. It's fair for the teachers. It keeps everything running and operating smoothly. But here's the problem. If you make an exception once for a parent, then that will become their new normal. They'll always expect it. They'll always expect you to make that exception for them. And so it can be very difficult, because if you live in a small community like me, when we were growing our schools, then parents talk to each other. And now it's like, oh, well, you did it for so-and-so. Why can't you do it for me? And so I learned very quickly that sometimes if parents are asking for an exception, or if they're demanding an exception, then the appropriate response should be that they may not be the right fit for your school. And that's okay. That's totally okay. But I'll tell you something, a little secret. If you say that to somebody who's demanding an exception, then usually it causes them to pause and to back up, because now they're having to make a decision whether they're going to pull their kid out of lessons and then find another teacher. It's like, okay, no, I don't want to do that. And so stick to your policies, whatever they are. Whatever your policies are, stick to them and stand by them. So I would say that is a huge thing. So to summarize, the 3 costly mistakes. Number 1, just having no reward system, nothing that keeps students excited about the future and coming back. That's not necessarily lesson related, reward related. And then number 2 is overpaying your teachers. Stick to your budget, because that's going to help you be profitable as you scale your company. And then number 3, the last thing is, don't let parents bully you. Stick to your policy, and you will be very happy that you did, because people will fall in line and they will operate by your rules. It's just sometimes you have to have a firm backbone and stand by the policies that you've set, because you set them that way for a reason. And so that's a very valuable thing. Well, hey, listen, if you want more information about this, you can click down below. There is a free trial link. The BAM library is huge and vast. All the information and a ton more about growing your school and everything that I've talked about here, you can find in the BAM library. So definitely go check it out. And it's free. free to go check out, take it for a test drive. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and the best of success to you.